supposed to just grow during that season, and then you have to put down seeds again.
Again, they're supposed to die.
Ours have just,
They just
there's
come
a
back.
profusion of them. I used the same seeds from the same plant. I gather those seeds in a little can or whatever I have that has a lid, and I keep them for the next season, but I end up putting them somewhere else because where they grew the prior year, they're coming back. And they have kept coming back for seasons, for several years.
I made that joke that those are your resurrection plants.
So those we
keep
call them,
resurrecting.
he calls them our resurrection plants. The same happens with
But you know,
other plants.
biologically, they're not supposed to be there.
No, they're not. They're not.
They're not supposed to be there. Do you see my point?
Right,
How weird that is?
because of our winter. Our winter, this is
We have severe winters in this area.
Winters, we get snow, we get ice storms. So these seeds are supposed to not even be dormant. They're supposed to just go away, and then new ones. But we get those, and I haven't had to buy new seeds because I use the seeds from the plants from the prior year. Put
The
them
ones that
somewhere
were
else,
reborn again, actually.
and they
You
get
use the
resurrected
seeds.
somewhere else.
This is what I'm saying. It's like, not only do those come back, but then you take their seeds, plant them somewhere else,
Right.
and then those are like the baby seeds of
The
dead plants
seedlings
that are born
from,
again.
Yes.
It's almost these are like your damn vampire plants.
So I
It's
have
not resurrection.
them,
It's like vampire plants. Okay? Do you realize it's vampire plants?
Well, very appropriate for Halloween.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Maybe should not put up this video
No, I like it. I think people will
because
enjoy
it
it.
sounds
But
sounds freaky. Your plants are freaky.
again, that's always been a mystery through the years because
She calls it her enchanted garden.
this is I always told Gio, this is an enchanted soil here, an enchanted garden. So I'm just gonna go with it. I'm going to accept it for what I feel that it is and what I think it is.
Well, I think
And
it's
I'm gonna
better
go,
to look
and
at
I'm
it
gonna
that
keep going.
way than think that they're vampire plants.
No. Enchantment is so much nicer.
Oh my god. Yeah, so basically this house has its own history.
Right.
So 140-year anniversary next year.
Next
Can you
year.
imagine
Next
that?
year we have to do something
Oh
special.
my god. 140
Special.
years. Sometimes you've told me, I thought that you were upstairs. And I wasn't in the building. See, we call it a building because
Right.
really it's 3 stories. I know that we do have a couple of other relatives here. It happens when there's no one else here.
Right.
When it's just the 2 of us.
I think at the beginning when we first moved here, there was more of that. Through the years, it's kind of, the house has been settling. So let's use that.
Let's fix
The house has been settling.
It's been settling, but the girls,
But
our dogs are still.
our dogs once in a while will still get up
This
and
will still really
look
freak
up
us out.
the stairs, and we're like,
and follow
here they
things
go
around,
again.
and there's like nothing to follow.
Right. So
I'm wondering if people must have had pets also.
I'm sure.
Here through all that
I'm sure.
almost century and 40 years.
I'm sure.
140 years it's gonna be. So so their pets must have passed away here.
A lot.
I just realized that maybe their pets are buried in that yard where you're putting your plants.
So far,
Oh Lord.
I have not ran into a single.
But they could have buried them deep.
anything.
It's a huge
So,
yard. It could have been buried in deep.
I am
Oh,
hoping
boy.
that I do not see any surprises such as those during our tenure here. I really hope. That would be too freaky for me. I don't think that I would dig another hole if I found something like that. I think I would stay away from digging holes
Okay.
back there. That would be the last.
But let me tell you, when your tulips come out, your tulips are like enormous.
No,
The hardy hibiscus are like immense.
and
then you give cuttings to
and
the
the
lady
lilies.
next door,
and the lilies.
and
The
then they
lilies
don't
are
grow
huge.
over there. What's that all about? That's like so weird.
They don't grow
It's
as
only
tall.
next door.
They don't grow as
Well,
tall.
they grow little.
They
The
don't
ones
grow
that grow little, and most of them don't grow.
Maybe they like me. Maybe it's me.
Yes, let's go with
Maybe
that.
it's my influence.
Let's go with that.
Maybe it's me. And it has nothing to do with the property.
I still think it's 140 years.
Well,
40 years of history.
I'm going to keep.
And we have, back in the Victorian era, back when this house was built, actually they would take pictures of the
I'm going to
deceased.
take a little fan.
Yeah, because all these lights really, they do get hot. They would take pictures of the deceased to keep those pictures.
Yes.
The Japanese kind of have that. They've always kind of done that because they have ancestor worship as part of their religion.
And they would take.
But here in the U.S. and throughout Europe, actually, they did the same thing. They would actually bring in a photographer. That's clank glasses.
Oh.
They would actually bring a photographer and take a picture. Especially, back then the neonatal and childhood mortality was very high.
Yes.
Because
children. I've seen those.
many vaccines did not
photographs.
exist as of yet.
No
In the
antibiotics.
1880s through almost the 1940s, no antibiotics existed. There were no medications basically in the market. Tuberculosis, people died of tuberculosis in tuberculous asylums. So babies also died in these houses because the neonatal mortality was extremely high. And today you also see in the internet, you can look up, these death pictures of that families took of their relatives in their coffins.
And we've seen a few pictures, a few of those pictures. When we have visited antique fairs and antique
Yeah, we've
shops.
seen those pictures, and then it kind of always reminds me of this.
Personally, I have always wanted to pick up some of these photographs, but Gio has always kind of told me stay away from that. I think he feels we have sometimes a little bit too much activity. He doesn't want me to bring any more things in here to encourage anything else.
These are photographs of when we've gone to the antique shows.
Correct.
Where they show people inside the casket and babies propped up, mind you, propped up in baby
Children
chairs.
and elderly also.
And elderly propped up in sofa chairs as though they were alive.
Right. Because it was the thing to do back then. I don't think.
Well, it was mortuary.
Mortuary
Photography.
Photography, correct. Right. And that was its own skill and required its own skill set. But
this house
we just don't want to
lived.
bring anything additional here.
Right, because this house lived during that period. You realize that? Because this house is 140 years old.
Right.
It lived during that period.
Right.
It saw that type of photography taken within these walls.
Right.
So who knows throughout the living room, because they would pose them.
And who knows if any of those pictures
Are in the places that we don't want to open up.
No, or
After we got scared.
or even the ones that I would purchase, if any of those were people who used to maybe have lived here. You never know. Things go around, and you never know if you're going to bring in.
Well, that was the fashion of the era.
Coincidence,
This was like the last.
may come back.
And then what happens is that the cameras were also different then. There were like huge box cameras that they would have to unveil it and bring it down. So they would actually remove the person from the coffin. Do you realize this?
Right.
And
No, but a lot of them are inside the coffin, though. I mean, this is
I've seen photographs
this is kind of creepy stuff
from the
we're talking
antique
about.
shows. Yeah, I know, but
The antique shops, you mean? Yeah.
the antique shops where people are sitting in their sofas, in their settees, they're sitting in their love seats, and they look like they're alive, and they're not. The dead have been posed as though they were alive, and that was part of mortuary photography.
No, that's creepy. The ones that
Not
I have
only that,
seen
but-
and I have
but the
wanted to
babies.
purchase are inside the coffins.
No,
but
the babies have been posed inside their cribs, and also in their high chairs. Except that their eyes, their eyelids are closed. Except that I did see a couple with eyelids open, which was wow. Excuse me. Remember too,
I think that
this is not to get morbid, but really, the people that were laid to rest in these homes for all those decades, You know, they were not embalmed. They were not embalmed because embalming came with funeral parlors and the science of embalming people.
That's a science unto itself.
Right, exactly, but that came with people who knew what to do. So they were not embalmed, and people were looked at for a couple of days.
Right, so you don't want to keep that body around a little
But they would
much
keep
longer
them
than that.
around for a couple of days. After a day, bodies start to smell. So this house may have experienced this house may have experienced all of that.
Okay.
You see my point within these walls.
So
no, I don't want to be bringing.
It still wants to go around, to still be around. I'm amazed.
This house
Maybe that's
will
why
outlive
once
us
in a
all.
while we hear a little bit, a little bit of a
No, don't even do that.
or a
Houses
little bit
tend
of something.
houses
like,
tend to settle,
all right.
and that's all that means.
Okay, if you say so, I will believe you. I will believe you.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That's what happens.
Let's go with that.
That's all there is to
Yes,
that.
let's go with
Okay.
that. Okay, sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Really, and just check to make sure.
That all the windows are closed at
Yeah.
night? Yeah, okay. I will. I will. So you wanted to show, I think,
Well, that was like
we got.
something. A friend of mine, who's also very scientifically oriented, like myself, came and visited this house, and after that, he gave us this gift. He said, "Here, you need this."
You need a crystal ball. So we said, why do we need a crystal ball?
Well, when he gave it to me, I said, "Oh, that's a nice paperweight," and he said, "That's not a paperweight."
It's a crystal ball.
Well, I think that he experienced a couple of things that freaked him out here.
So well, maybe he's impressionable. He's one of those people that's very sensitive.
He's like one of these very concrete people that WYSIWYG, he's not, no imagination.
Maybe you
Sorry
told
if
him
you're
a couple
listening.
of.
I told him nothing. I tell nobody nothing.
You told him a couple of stories and
No.
you scared him, and all of a sudden he said he thought that we needed something like this.
No, that came out of his little brain.
All right, okay. Well, it
He
was
said,
a nice
"You guys,"
gift.
and he
It's a
said
nice
it,
gift. It's beautiful.
You
It's
need
beautiful.
this.
Right.
Like both of us need
Right.
this.
Well, it's a beautiful gift. It serves as a paperweight, and it's nice and clear. And it will
go back
cloudiness to
into
it.
the drawer that it came from.
Right. Okay. All right. No,
Okay.
I think it's beautiful. It should stand in a little corner somewhere.
No.
All right. Okay.
No,
so
back
then-
to the drawer, really,
back to the
once
drawer.
Halloween is over.
All right. So we'll put it away.
So there's like this additional thing that this is another thing that we bought from the spirit of Christmas, of Halloween. And this is a tarot card set. And it was like $5.99. And I was surprised.
But the images are beautiful, though.
Yeah, look at this. Because you got to see
Huge
it.
deck.
So it's a huge deck, but because we bought it for just like to see what the images were like, and then I kind of looked it up a little bit on the internet to see what this meant.
And I think it reads in the back of the box reads something about upper and lower or something like that.
It's 22 major arcana, 56 minor arcana.
Major
Arcana are
and
like the
minor.
houses of the.
All right.
But this one, so I thought it was going to be a very comic-oriented type of deck, because I've seen several of different ones, and but they kind of had nice drawings on them, like a lot. This very elaborate type of drawing, like
Yeah, the images
this is the
are
Three of
beautiful.
Pentacles. Look at the dwarf.
The images are really, really beautiful.
This is the Page of Swords. Look at this. This is the Hierophant. But read what it says underneath the Hierophant.
Voodoo Warlock.
Exactly. Now, when do you ever see Warlock like in any of these cards? Never.
No,